On the news tonight, President Tinubu holds first security meeting with service chiefs, says working against each other won't be tolerated. Peter Obi and Labour Party to challenge election results in only 18 states. And CBN refutes claims of Naira devaluation, says exchange rate of 465 Naira per US dollar remains. Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Folashade Ogrinde. President Bola Tinubu has issued a standing order to security agencies and service chiefs to develop a blueprint for tackling insecurity in the country. In a closed-door meeting that lasted 2 hours, President Tinubu also warned them against working at cross purposes with colliding with each other, adding that all security agencies must be on the same page and operate with synergy. Well, we'll talk to an expert on Nigeria's expectations on security and the outcome of President Tinubu's meeting with security agencies. But first, this report.
We rise for Mr. President.
This is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's first meeting with the nation's security chiefs, heads of security agencies, and the Inspector General of Police. President Tinubu, who arrived at 10:53 a.m. at the State House in Abuja, was met by Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Gambo, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Isiaka Amao, and the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba. Also in the meeting was the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, Director General of the Department of State Services, Yusuf Bichi, and Ahmed Abubakar, Director General of the National Intelligence Agency NIA. Briefing journalists on the outcome of the closed-door meeting, the National Security Advisor, Babagana Monguno, disclosed that the President emphasized on the need for coordination among the intelligence chiefs. Monguno said Tinubu spelt it in clear terms that acting at cross purposes would not be tolerated.
The President has made it very, very clear that he is determined to build on whatever gains have been made and to reverse misfortunes and turn the tide in our favor. As far as he is concerned, this country should not be on its knees struggling while other countries are walking and achieving greater heights. The President has revealed that in moving this country forward, he needs the security agencies to redouble their efforts, and he's also pointed out that his own philosophy is one of contemporary security measures.
The NSA also said President Tinubu mandated the security chiefs to draw up a fresh blueprint that would guide security operations in the country.
And his own trajectory is that national security has to be coordinated. There has to be, whatever it is, whether it is a basket system, but there must be a clearing house. All agencies must work to achieve one single purpose. Working at cross purposes and colliding with each other is not something that he will condone. He has made it very, very clear that all the security agencies must comply with the demands of coordination, with the demands of frequent consultations, and also timely reports which must be acted on.
Today's meeting is the President's first official engagement with the security helmsmen since assuming office on Monday, where he had promised Nigerians that security will be top priority for his administration. Folashade Ogrinde, TV360 News. Well, security expert Salaudeen Hashim joins me now. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, I bet every critic and supporter alike is looking to see how President Tinubu will tackle the issue of insecurity. But what's your take on his first security meeting?
I think he struck the bullseye from the onset by trying to ensure that he wants to eliminate the cankerworm of rivalry. Intelligence rivalry, particularly within the services, has created one of the biggest setbacks despite the funding that has been deployed in that particular direction. You know too well that in the last few years, defense and security in general has taken close to about 25% of our national budget, which means very clearly that a number of issues are creating the setback and the clog in the wheel, one of which has clearly identified the issue of intelligence rivalry. And of course, you know too well that this issue has also allowed for a number of leakages within the funding stream. For instance, the Nigerian Army is also having an airstrip. That in itself is an absence of coordination. You cannot have an air force that has the biggest capability and the capacity to function, and then of course the Nigerian Army is not having its own airport. That is a clear ultra bias in terms of what sets up their mandate. And you have also the Nigerian Air Force now carrying out ground operations. This in itself is just one of the typical examples of how intelligence rivalry has consistently undermined the efforts to achieve that nascent security that will be able to deliver functionality to citizens. So I think Tinubu, I beg your pardon, has clearly understood where the gap really lies. And I'm hoping that that clearinghouse that he's talking about would actually now give birth to the kind of security funding like we saw in Lagos State, where infrastructure was drawn from that basket funding, where we see a lot of rapid response, personnel welfare, and a number of hardware were also drawn from it. So I really think this is a fundamental approach, a beautiful entry, and a very delicious way to start.
Well, indeed, beautiful and delicious, very interesting words to describe Tinubu's first security meeting. But security expert Salaudeen Hashim, thank you very much for your insight. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has met with Senate President Ahmed Lawan and Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa in Abuja. The private meeting occurred just after the President's meeting with the nation's service chiefs and heads of intelligence agencies, also at the State House. Briefing journalists on the outcome of the meeting, Senate President Ahmed Lawan expressed optimism that the 10th National Assembly will maintain a symbiotic relationship with the executive arm to optimize the function of checks and balances.
We have also emphasized the need to have a very stable, peaceful, and productive National Assembly, the 10th National Assembly. We believe that the need to have serious understanding amongst senators and members elect through the process that our leadership will emerge. There's a need to carry everybody along, and time is of essence. We have only about a week before the inauguration of the National Assembly, and it pays to have very peaceful environment in the National Assembly for members and senators to work together.
Well, I think we've all seen the benefits of a cordial relationship. Not necessarily in bed together, but cordial relationship. We've seen the benefits in the last 4 years, unless you don't want to be truthful. And we've seen the other side, where you don't have a cordial relationship, and which one ignores for the betterment of Nigeria. I think the 10th Assembly, for the sake of Nigeria and for the sake of constituents, and having seen what happened in the last 4 years and what happened in the last 8 years, will toe that same line. And that does not mean, and it's very important to make that position very clear, a cordial relationship anywhere in the world between the legislature and the executive. It's supposed to be a symbiotic relationship. You don't have to be in gloves and boxing each other. No, that's not that. There's a saying that when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers, and we don't want that for the Nigerian people. We've gone way beyond that. It's all about checks and balances. The legislator would check the executive would check the legislator would check the judiciary. That's the democracy we run.
Still in politics, the presidential candidates of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, says he and the party will challenge the results of the February 25 election in only 18 states. The petitioners submitted that they would not waste precious time of the court in the states they won convincingly and without any dispute. At Thursday's sitting, Obi and the Labour Party tendered certified true copies of electoral documents obtained from the Independent National Electoral Commission in only 6 states. Chairman of the PEPC, Justice Haruna Tosemani, admitted the documents as exhibits after they were tendered by Emeka Okpoko, who conducted the proceedings on behalf of Obi and the Labour Party. Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello has described the aspirations of Senators Godswill Akpabio and Barau Jibrin for the positions of the Senate President and Deputy of the 10th Senate as his personal project. He assured he would pursue the project to achieve the stability of President Bola Tinubu's presidency. The Kogi State Governor argued that President Tinubu was not demanding too much from the lawmakers on his choices for the leadership of the 10th Senate.
Almost all the political parties contributed. And that's the same thing we want to bring to the Senate. Total unity, so that we just think Nigeria. We'll bring a lot of innovations in terms of legislations. We'll make sure that we look at every law that will make it possible for us to have youth inclusion, both in governance and in business. We'll make sure that we do everything to make laws that will bring in foreign direct investments into the country. We are very mindful of the fact that without employment opportunities for our youth, then the much needed dividends of democracy will never work. We must take them away from banditry. We must fight corruption. We must fight insecurity with creation of opportunities, and those things will start with proper legislations. So I assure you that it's not going to be business as usual. And you can see my colleagues are very poised and very experienced. So we are determined to make things change. That's why we are going to partner with governors like him.
What we want and what we are seeing and what we shall see is unity, stability, development, progress, security, infrastructural development, job creation, food security, and anything we can ever think of that are ascribed to democracy is what we are going to see. And as such, I have no any other reason other than to endorse him for the Senate President. And of course, when you're talking of his chances, it is going to be overwhelming. We're looking at a situation where all other contestants will come together and reasons will prevail.
The Senate has mourned the death of the founder of Dar Communications, Raymond Dokpesi. The mourning followed a motion moved by Francis Alimikena at the plenary session. Dokpesi, who hailed from Edo State, died on Monday in Abuja at the age of 71. The senator also urged the leadership of the upper legislative chamber to constitute a delegation to pay a courtesy visit to the family of the deceased.
The Senate is aware that he is an eminent and committed leader, a perfect gentleman, a media guru, a nationalist, a philanthropist. His contribution to democracy and good governance through his media outlets remain unparalleled and will make his footprint indelible in the sand of time.
Dr. Dokpesi was a true Democrat. He lived for human beings. He lived for people. He was a great believer in the ingenuity of human beings to recreate themselves and look within them and bring out the best out of them. May his soul rest in peace, and may God grant the wife and the children fortitude to bear his loss.
He's a fine Nigerian. He's a man that we never thought he would depart so soon. Raymond Dokpesi is a man who is ready to listen to people, and he's a Democrat that believes in the unity of this country. Raymond Dokpesi is a man that cut across the length and breadth of Nigeria. There's hardly a state that you will not have reason to believe that Raymond Ekpesi is from that place.
When the Senate President and I ran for the leadership of this Senate, he was very, very good to us. He was very, very gracious to us. The Ekpesi I knew was like water. He had no enemies. Yes, listening to the contributions, the highlights and the contributions he made to the campaigns of PDP leaders, but Ekpesi was beyond politics. May the soul of this great Nigerian patriot, Chief Raymond Anthony Alego Ekpesi, rest in perfect peace.
We'll take a break here, but still to come on News Now. NATO debates security guarantees for Ukraine. We'll bring you details of this story and more right after this break. Welcome back to News Now. Here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. President Bola Tinubu has issued a standing order to security agencies and service chiefs to develop a blueprint for tackling insecurity in the country. In a closed-door meeting that lasted 2 hours, President Tinubu also warned them against working at cross purposes and colliding with each other, adding that all security agencies must be on the same page and operate with synergy. We also told you that the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, says he and the party will challenge the result of the February 25 election in only 18 states. The petitioners submitted that they would not waste precious time of the court in the states they won convincingly and without any dispute. But in case you missed any of our news bulletins, or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. The House of Representatives ADA Committee on COVID-19 has submitted its report on Thursday. The chairman of the House Committee on COVID-19, Haruna Michelia, laid the report on the pandemic over 3 years after the panel was set up for the task. Gbajabiamila, while inaugurating the House Committee on April 28, 2020, had said the panel was set up as part of the resolve by the Parliament to constantly work for the best interests of Nigerians. Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong has tested positive for COVID-19 for a second time in less than 2 weeks in a rare case of a rebound. Lee said he has been advised to self-isolate as the virus is still infectious, although the risk is lower compared to the initial infection. The 71-year-old was diagnosed with COVID-19 for the first time on May the 22nd, following work trips in Africa and Asia. We'll take a breather here, but return with more stories in business. To stay with us.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On Digi 360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DG360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Simi Saladigon is standing by to bring you business news. What's the latest, Simi?
Thank you very much, Folashade. Welcome to Business News. Following the recent adjustment of petrol prices by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPCL, has revealed that the federal government has not funded the petrol subsidies for 2022 and 2023, despite budgetary provisions. According to Kyari, there was no set band price for petrol and prices would vary across the nation. He added that removing subsidy will help build a competitive market, no longer making NNPC the sole oil importer for Nigeria. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has reacted to reports claiming that it has devalued the naira to about 630 naira to a dollar. In a statement on Thursday, the bank's acting head of corporate communications, Isa Abdul Momin, described the reports as false while cautioning Nigerians to ignore the claims in its entirety, as it is speculative and calculated at causing panic in the market. He clarified that the exchange rate of the investors and exporters window stood at 465 per US dollar as of June the 1st, 2023, and has remained stable at this level for some time. We'll take a break here and return with the stock market report. At the end of Thursday's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the benchmark all-share index inched up further by 38.97 points to close at 55,888, a 4-week gain of 6.9% to close at 0.07%. Now, market breadth also closed positive with 29 gainers and 20 losers. Corn Oil PLC and Sterling Bank topped the gainers table with 65 naira 95 kobo. Now, Thursday's market summary shows that a total of 390 million volume of shares valued at 5.7 billion naira were traded in 7,725 deals. Global shares generally rose on Thursday as traders pared back expectations of a U.S. rate hike this month and were relieved by the passage through the U.S. House of Representatives of a bill to suspend the federal debt ceiling. So as select foreign stocks, that's the UK's FTSE, the US Dow Jones and Japan's Nikkei, all bounced from previous day's lows to the green zone. That's the stock market report. Back to you, Folashade.
Well, many thanks, Simisala, for that update. And on the foreign scene, NATO foreign ministers meeting in Oslo have debated providing security guarantees to Ukraine after its war with Russia ends, as the alliance looks to bridge divisions over Kyiv's push to join the bloc. Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February last year has galvanized the Western military alliance set up almost 75 years ago to face off against the Soviet Union. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, backed by NATO countries in Eastern Europe, has called for a clear message at the July summit that Kyiv will join once the war with Russia ends. Well, up next is Entertainment Reporter News Now.
Since Sensational Nigerian singer Oluwatobiloba Daniel Anidugbe, aka Kiss Daniel, has revealed that he has called off his engagement to his mystery fiancée. In a chat with media personality Angela Yee, the singer disclosed this while also revealing that he has 3 sons now. Kiss Daniel had previously welcomed triplets with his previous girlfriend in 2021, but he lost one of the child few hours after birth. However, the singer decided not to comment on his cancelled engagement with his fiancée. American rapper Rick Rock's attraction to Afrobeat has gone beyond the music as he recently openly expressed his attraction to Arya Starr. In an Instagram video, Rick Ross gushed over Arya Starr, describing her as beautiful and talented, while also proposing a toast to her and saying he would like to celebrate her when it comes to Nigeria. The video has generated reactions online as fans joked about the way the relationship would look like between the two of them. And that's it on the entertainment segment of News Now. Tamilore Akinkole, TV360 Nigeria.
In sports, Roma head coach Jose Mourinho has risked a UEFA ban and fine after confronting Europa League officials in the stadium car park, branding them crooks following his team's Europa League defeat to Sofia on penalties after the match had ended in a 1-1 draw. Mourinho's men took the lead in the Europa League final against Sofia on Wednesday night. Well, the Serie A side was pegged back at the start of the second half by own goal from Gianluca Mancini. The match was a very scrappy and bad-tempered affair, with 13 yellow cards dished out by referee Anthony Taylor. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogrinde. Bye for now.